Welcome to OM Report by Andre Alpa, your interview-focused podcast on topics from online marketing to internet startups.
Okay.
So, today's OM Report with Aleyda. Aleyda, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, I am Aleyda Solis. Hi. I am natively from Nicaragua. I lived in Spain for 7 years, where I started to do SEO. I was previously a web developer. There I work in agencies, in-house, as a consultant for other European and American agency too. So I may gather this experience in the SEO industry already, and now I am working in Brussels for WooRank as a head of digital strategy.
Okay, so how did you make the jump over to the US? You started blogging at Moz and other blogs. How did you make that jump? It's kind of, it seems so far away from Europe sometimes to get, you know, a reach in the US. How do you, what do you think of that?
I remember, the one thing that I remember is that at one point I say, I'm going to start blogging in English in my own blog. And also tweeting a little bit more in English, because really...
Did you switch, like a hard switch from Spanish to English?
I started to balance. Nowadays I tweet much more in English, I will say, than in Spanish. In Spanish is much more interaction and sharing like the really good stuff that I found.
And then in English you're just showing the simple stuff, and the good stuff you're showing only in Spanish?
No, but the thing is, and this is real, unfortunately a lot of the posts that are published in Spanish are just like copy or translations of the ones that are in English, but there are a few insightful, really unique, completely original type of content that really deserve that type of visibility. So I try to push a lot to help us, you know.
So does the Spanish community still like to read your tweets even though they're in English, or do they sometimes say, okay, well, that's much more work for me, it's not my native language, I'm not going to look at it anymore?
There's something funny. Most of the SEOs in Spain, they understand English. They might not be able to be fluent like this, but they understand English because at the end of the day, if you work on the web, with the web, it's a must to be able to understand this type of things. So yes, they follow me, and at some point I tweet in English and they answer in Spanish.
Which
so
is fine for you.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, and then when you started blogging in English, then you tried to blog elsewhere as well.
Yes, I started on my own blog, and then I remember it was 2-3 years ago when I met Baz, and I asked him if I could, you know, start collaborating at the State of Search. It was back then, so I started blogging for State of Search, now State of Digital, but it was actually at State of Search before Moz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when I think of you, I knew you from like kind of more very technical, complex issues that would be, you know, important in an enterprise SEO context, like mobile SEO topics, like international SEO topics, which perfectly fit with which you being having a technical background, and now you switch to WooRank that is kind of focused on the local mom and pop shop. How does that work together? Isn't that kind of, you know, a different world, and who's adapting to who now?
Indeed. Well, I try to provide enterprise level solutions to a tool that is focused on you know, generic, much more generic, low level audience of web consultants that try to really dig and be able to sort out SEO without being really experts or specialists in the area.
So is there like kind of like a certain drain? Because I mean, they're not going to implement, I don't know, hreflang or rel alternate for mobile websites, or they're not going to, I don't know, switch to responsive design. So is there like kind of a loss of things that you used to do, or is that?
No, actually, I love it. No, because, you know, I am, in some sort of ways, I am their in-house SEO too. You know, I'm a head of digital strategy, so I do more than just SEO. Sure. But I help them to really improve on ways that I did in the past with big companies. So that is very, you know, and for me also, what attracted me a lot, and one of the reasons that I joined them, is that they are able to reach so many people. So many people use their tool in some way or another. So to be able to focus on a product where I really understand the audience, and I can really predict or help them to build something scalable that is going to be really useful in the future, that is one of my main motivations, really.
Right. So the company language in Brussels will be English then?
Well, at the office we speak in English. I speak French, although, you know, because there's this Flemish French type of thing, and we have also Flemish and French people. At some point you hear a little bit of Flemish among the Flemish people in the office. Other times you hear French, other type English, other times you hear Spanish, because one of the founders speaks very well Spanish with me, and he likes to speak Spanish with me, and there's another Spanish colleague. So it's crazy, it's multilingual, if you can say, yes.
Okay. So how do you kind of the shops that you target these days, or the clients that you target with WooRank? What do you have in mind usually when you design the product for them? I mean, you see, because you are kind of in the edgy position as a speaker, obviously, and then you always think ahead, and then you kind of try to, I don't know, think ahead the interpretation of what's happening in the big picture for the local shops and
small businesses. Yes.
So how are their needs different?
Yeah. For example, it needs to be one of the unique selling proposition really is that it needs to be simple. It really needs to be instant. It really needs to be useful and insightful, but actionable in an actionable way, so they don't get lost. They don't have really that much time to dig out, right? So you can see, actually, WooRank launched the responsive web design 3 weeks ago. So it's one right now. If you enter to any of the reports, they're responsive, totally responsive and friendly to any mobile device, and that is one of few things. We are ready also to launch and to have much more different type of reports that will provide insights at other levels and in other ways to the audience. So it's the product is evolving, and it will expand much more, not only to provide website specifically targeted to one website type of reports, but much more than that.
Okay. So when you think of SEO for like these local mom and pop shops or local small businesses, I think bringing the on-page knowledge and guiding them through on-page topics, that seems doable.
Yeah.
But when I think about this topic, and I'm not active in this topic because my clients are usually larger enterprises, I always have the problem of how to explain a local shop, how to try to go for a good link or anything that I could think of in a content marketing context. The things that I can think of, they're so big, they're much too big for them to swallow in a single month.
And in fact, for a few of them, for a few of these companies, SEO is not the first answer. It might be local, but totally local, purely local targeted strategy.
So you're just going to optimize for Google Maps and so on.
Indeed, build your page there, build your presence there, optimize it, become like really active on Foursquare, create giveaways and coupons on Foursquare, get good reviews. And so the idea with WooRank too, and you will see, is that it has a model for local too, for mobile too, because at the end of the day, these are this type of websites that are not targeted to the main public to go and compete, but these very specific type of companies, little companies that need to earn the visibility as much as possible, not only from SEO. Really. Let's
jump to a different topic I think we both like. How would you describe to everybody the differences between SEO in the States and SEO over in Europe? What do you think are the biggest differences that you always try to highlight to your friends in the US?
Yes. Well, in the US, I would say that it's much more lean building focused. Really, I was very impressed when I started going to events in the US and then working at Seit. Of course, Seit is pretty well known for lean building, for doing great lean building. So of course, maybe I am a little bit also biased because of that, because that was my main experience with a US agency. But yes, I mean, they are great marketers. I was really impressed to see their creativity, this type of brainstorms and actions and tactics that they come up with to create links. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, for example, there are some type of tactics that are very doable because there are so many, let's say, high schools out there who have blogs out there and they are updating it all the time. I have tried to extrapolate and take that same type of tactic to Spain, and it's not going to work because the landscape is totally different. So those are the challenging, but at the same time really insightful and great things about international SEO, because different markets behave differently and their ecosystem is different. So because of that, I think, because there are also much more competition, I believe that the US market is much more targeted building link popularity. In Spain, you can say that a lot of the SEOs have come from the web development, web design world, so they are much more technically focused, and also you don't require that many links as in the English-speaking market in order to rank. So yes, there are differences, of course.
How do Spanish websites usually deal with the traffic that they get from South America? Because it must be like a significant bunch. And what do they do with it? Do they try to avoid it? Because I don't know.
No. I mean, there are a lot of websites actually and web businesses in Spain that target and I start leveraging the Latin American market because of that, because there's a huge opportunity, and the Latin American market is like, I don't know, 4 years behind Spain, you will say. So right now you can see a lot, for example, a lot of conferences and a lot of events and posts speaking about community management, social media, blogs. Is the boom right now. What we saw, yes, in 2007 here is crazy. Yes, indeed. So you can also predict a little bit how it will evolve. So I will say that this is the time really to be there, because for example, they have invited me for the first time to go to speak to South America in June in Chile, and I believe it's the first time they are going to have like purely SEO focused type of session. So that is great, because it's going to go like really crazy from now. Yeah.
Sounds amazing. All right. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
OMReport and Andre Alpa would like to thank you for your attention. You can get more episodes on www.omreport.com.